Hi, I'm Lin.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lin and Leo.
And welcome to our complete beginner series, and this is going to be set over 6 lessons, 6 poses in each lesson.
Yes, so they're basic poses, but they're quite tough. However, if you are a little bit stiff or if you're completely new, don't worry. You do what you can within the poses and they will get easier over time.
Definitely. So hopefully you have your mat and you're on your mat. Our first pose is going to be Adho Svanasana, so you're going to come into a kneeling position.
Yeah, we just better mention about the equipment, actually.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
So you're going to need, we've got a yoga chair here, but you don't need a yoga chair. You can have an ordinary chair. A couple of foam pads. If you haven't got foam pads, then a rolled blanket would do, maybe. A belt and a bolster. So in an ideal world, that's the equipment you'll be working with.
Okay, so coming into a kneeling position, as you can see here, Leo is kneeling, preparing for her Adho Svanasana. Now, one of the key things about this preparational stage is that you need to really work in the limbs. So you've got to press down with those wrists into the palms, lift the abdomen, keep the breadth and broadness in the collarbones, and then tuck your toes under. And then push very strongly into the palms and come up into your Adho Svanasana. So we're going to practice this several times. So when you first come into your first Adho Svanasana, dog head down, then see that you're working it, straightening those arms, straightening those legs, and see if you can lift the buttocks a little bit more. See how much you can lift up and get the height. So what you're trying to do is increase that framework and get a lot of broadness and space in the body. Bend the knees and reach back into Adho Virabhadrasana. So just take your time with this, extending your arms forward, letting the head release down. And when you're in Adho Virabhadrasana, just have a few moments to get your breath, feel your breath, extend your breath from your outer hips to your armpits. Just feel that sense of extension. And now we come back for Adho Svanasana again, press into your palms, tuck your toes under, quicker this time, yes, so go up quickly. Now this time, you've reach in strongly into the legs, into the thighs. Now pull up those kneecaps, and as you trace the center of the front thigh all the way up to the root of the thigh, see that you move those roots back very strongly. So these areas here, if you're not quite sure, it's right up in the root, and you're pushing these roots all the way back. And again, take a few deep, long inhalations when you're in the pose. Don't forget to breathe. And then softening the knees and come back into Adho Virabhadrasana. And just coming to this pose to just recover for a moment or two. Take a few breaths. When you're in this position, remember that we are preparing for Adho Svanasana, so it's really important that you don't collapse the arms, because quite often this happens, people just say, oh yeah, I can relax in this action, but you're still being attentive, reaching those muscle fibers all the way through to the palms, extending those buttocks back. So we're coming for Adho Svanasana one more time, so come on then, up you go quite quickly now. Now this time, we're going to keep the extension through the whole of the body, keep those arms nice and straight, push back into the roots of the thighs. So get that extension. Now, I want you to see that you take your glance along the mat to the very front end of the mat. You can see here, Leo, if you're in the pose, it's difficult for you to see, but be sure that you are activating this dorsal spine here, so you moving those shoulder blades really deeply in and along the back towards the back waist. So keep that action nice and open. Now keep your opening in the dorsal spine and just let the head release down so the crown of the head faces down towards the floor. Keeping that action, keeping the breath smooth and even, and then soften the knees and come back into Adho Virabhadrasana. So I'm just going to talk you through where we're going next. So just while you're there, just settle in for a moment or two. We are coming up into a standing position. The standing position is Virabhadrasana I, which is Warrior 1. So now coming out of your Adho Virabhadrasana and getting yourself a foam pad. Now, if you haven't got the foam pad, as Leo was saying, you can have some support. A book would be okay, actually, to put your heel onto. Now, Leo's standing on the support. Now, we're using this support to increase the length of the leg. Now, turning your left foot to a 45-degree angle, you can see here, and step the front leg forward. Now, quite often, the balance is quite difficult when you first start yoga, particularly with one leg in front of the other. So you're going to make sure that that back leg is pushing strongly back into that support nicely and lifting up through the center of the body. Now, extend those arms all the way up. Yes. Now, this is a really important pose because it softens the groins. So take a breath and keep the height of the arms, keep the length through the center of the body, and bend your leg, push back into your back leg, and then take a breath in and come back up. Now, re-establish, push back with your back leg really strongly, and take a breath in. Keep all this lift through the front body, keep the ribs away from the pelvis, and bend your front leg. Just be there, press into your back leg, lift your chest, reach the arms up, and then come back up. Okay, we're going to go for the third time now. Push into that back leg. You make sure that that is really stabilizing the pose, lifting up as much reach as you can into those fingertips, and then bending your front leg. Good. And then releasing and coming up. And then release the arms, and we're going to come to the other side. So step the back leg forward and come back to your support again. So you get the idea, you're not staying terribly long in the poses, you're just trying to get a bit of agility and a little bit of space in the body. So 45-degree angle with your right foot, step your left leg forward. Push into your back leg, lift up through the center. Soft inhalation, exhalation. Okay, now extend those arms up, reach up. So you have to understand that this extension needs to come. If you're extending, extend a little bit more, and then bend that front leg. Bend the front leg. Yes. Now push into that back leg really strongly. Keep that opening. Take a breath in and come up. We're not staying in the pose too long. Readjust that leg. Go and see that you push back with that back leg. Bring that front hip round and bend your front leg. Go and see that you extend in that way. Breathe and then come up, and then extend again all the way up into the fingertips. Push into your back leg and bend that front leg. Good. And then keep that lift all the way through the body. Breathe, don't forget to breathe. And then coming up and release it. Release the arms down and bring and step that back leg forward. Stand in Tadasana. So stand in the center of your mat now and coming for a lateral and bending action. So that was quite a challenging pose, the Virabhadrasana I, but it's very important to touch it and come out of it so that you get that agility, particularly when you're in a beginner's stage or if the body's particularly stiff. Once we can get a little bit of movement, then we can start refining the actions. But we have to get the movement first. So be in Tadasana, reaching those arms down, lifting up through the center of the body. Now we're going to take the fingers to the chest. Now when you're in this position, push into your elbows, lift up nicely. Now we're going to jump those legs apart and extend the arms. Alright, now again, it's really important that these limbs extend that a little bit further, right the way to the fingertips. And then turn the left foot in, so just have a look here at the foot, how it turns in, and turn the whole of the front foot and leg out. So the heel lines up with the back instep. Now, you have to see that you keep that back leg pushing back. Now, I've got my foot to the outer side of Leo's foot bone so that she can push into the foot itself. And this is really important. You have to see that you find that strength and grounding with that back leg. Now, bend your front leg. Make a square. Now, keep those arms really nice and long and turn and see if you can look towards the fingers. And then take a breath in and come up. So we go again. push into your back leg, lift up, chest up, and now bend that front leg. Don't forget to push into your back leg, turning towards the fingers, lifting up through the center of the body, and then coming up. So we go one more time. So lifting up, chest up, and now bend and stay. Now you have to see that you're trying to make that square. Be sure that the outer hip moves in strongly and you're getting that grip in the hips. So lift up through the center of the body. Turn to look at the fingers. And then taking a breath in and coming up. Turning the feet to face forward. And now turn your right foot in and your left foot out. Same thing. You've got to see that this action matters. You've got to see that this is really extending. Now bend your front leg. Make the square. Keep that action. Draw the abdomen towards the spine and go up through the center of the body. Take a breath in and come back up again. And again. See, can you go? One more time. Bend. Push into your back leg strongly. Lift up through the center of the body. We're not staying here too long. And now extend back up. Okay, last time when we finish the pose this time. So keep that grounded action in your back leg and then see, it takes time. It takes such a long time to get that agility and turn the head to look along the fingers. Soft inhale, soft exhale. Oh, and now come up. So such a strong action and turn the feet to face forward and bring the legs together. So sometimes when we begin, and I know at the center when we first start with some of the simple poses, then we repeat the postures quite a few times until we bring in the alignment and symmetry. So this is really quite an important stage of your foundation. Okay. So we're going to come down onto the floor level now, and we're going to show you a way of working. In a supine action, we're coming for Supta Panagustasana. So this is taking the leg up, but the way we're going to do this is really quite key. Let's stick on the foot. Okay. So when you come into this position, you're going to lie down. Now be careful when you lie down that you are lengthening the tailbone towards the back of the thighs. Now you're going to take one leg up. Now what I want you to do, the emphasis isn't how far you take this leg. I want you to kind of bring it a little bit out of the 90-degree angle. Now we would normally say, I'm just going to bring this chair over a bit, Leo. We would normally say 90 degrees, but we know what people's legs are like when they come into the centre. It's quite often, particularly if you're quite sporty, then this is going to be really a challenging action. So as we continue through the lessons, we'll show you different ways of working. But the touch of the chair is really important here because it encourages you to straighten the leg. So just that tiny touch is really key. So what you're going to do is see if you can keep that touch but bring the leg a little bit closer towards you and then bring the chair. But what's really important is you make sure that that leg is pulling up and that leg is absolutely straight and strong. And if you're really working well and pushing the back of the thigh into the chair, then you'll get the opening in the back of the leg as well. You can see with the extension through the leg, the heel is extending as well. So we'll go one more time and see if we can bring it to a 90-degree angle. So don't worry if this is difficult, but what I will say is don't start at the 90-degree angle. Start a little bit before that so you've got something to work towards, so you know exactly the action in the leg. You get a better action in the leg if you just gradually bring it into this 90-degree angle, and then eventually, of course, we use the bout and eventually we catch the foot with our two fingers and thumb and we come into the classic pose. But there is a starting point to that, and this starting point is really good and also fabulous for the back of the legs, the hamstrings, and an understanding of the forward leg, which you will need in all your forward bend poses. Okay, so we're going to release this leg. So it's quite a nice practice this. I really enjoy working with the chair because it just gives that little bit more sensitivity to what is a straight leg. And when you're working by yourself, then it's very difficult to know what is a straight leg. quite often we correct people's legs and they actually are really surprised that their legs are bent.
Yes.
Oh, they say, I thought it was straight. So this really is a good guru. This chair becomes your guru, becomes your teacher. So extend and go a little bit more. So don't rush this action. You can do this for a little while. Just extending into the leg, making sure the leg, can you see here, Leo's even working on that leg to straighten it, because you've got something to work with. That tiny touch of the chair will help you to develop this pose into a really good symmetry and classical action. So we go again into a 90-degree angle if this is possible. So don't go for the 90-degree angle if you are bending your leg. So if you know that your legs are really stiff, you can see Leo's doing a very good demonstration here. This is what happens with the legs, and it's no reason why you shouldn't be doing yoga, because this is why, the very reason why you're going to benefit from the practice. So keep that leg absolutely straight and strong, even more, pushing even more. That's when the front of the knee needs to lift even more and push really deeply in. Yeah, even more. Everybody needs to be practicing with this chair because it really corrects the leg action and the fibers. Okay. And release it. We'll move the chair right out the way there. Now we're coming into Triang Mukhaiekapada Paschimottanasana, which is a really big mouthful, but this is a pose which is a forward bending pose, but we're going to just work towards it today. Now, start in Dandasana. Now you can see with Leo, she's pulling her buttock flesh away from the back of the thigh and up. Now, get into a habit of doing this action because it will really hold you in good stead for other poses. Now we're going to bend the left leg now. So if you can see here, Leo is going to take the leg back into a Virabhadrasana action. Now it's much easier to go into Virabhadrasana with one leg than two legs for some reason. But as you can see, she is just taking a look at the calf and softening the calf so there's no bolt behind the knee. And this is one of the problems with beginners. If there's tight legs, then actually the 2 foam pads are not enough. You need to go a little bit higher. You might be able to go on less, maybe 1 foam pad. You have to see that with Leo's pose, you can see that the foot is facing directly back and the knee is directly forward. So this is the action, and what you're going to do to intensify it slightly, you have a yoga belt, then use it, otherwise you can use your dressing gown tie, whichever, or a tie. So hold on to the belt with both hands and just get that upward action. So this is a really wonderful pose for beginners because you get that upward action, but you're still bringing quite a lot of work into the legs. 1 leg bent, 1 leg straight. Now you can hinge a little bit forward with this, walk along the belt, but only to this stage. This stage, we want you to understand the leg work and the lift of the spine. So remember, the lift of the spine's got to come through the front body. Roll your shoulders back and down and keep that lift. And also keeping those arms straight, so not to start bending the elbows. And then release them. And straightening your legs. Okay, just move this out the way so Leo can come to the other side. Okay, so be sure that you're placing well. So take a little bit of care over your body and then taking the belt and placing the belt around the foot. Now holding on to the belt and again keeping that action, so you're using the belt as a fulcrum. Eventually you'll use the foot, but quite often, we'll just show you the demo here, if you use the foot and you're like this, then actually it's not worth doing the pose because you're creating a problem in your back. So see that you're holding on to the belt and you're keeping that wonderful straightness in the spine. Now also with using the belt in this way, it will help you to create that understanding of the leg work, particularly in the straight leg, and pushing that thigh bone down. And then release them. and straighten the legs into Dandasana. So our next pose is Setu Bandha. Setu Panagustasana, which is the bridge pose, but we're going to do it on a nice support, so hopefully you have something like this, a bolster. Now if you haven't got a bolster, then we can use some pillows, as Leo suggested, and then we're going to place that onto the mat and have your foam pads just a little bit away from the bolster. Now this is really an important part of your practice because it will help you with your shoulder work, and sit right towards the end of the bolster. It's almost like you're a little caterpillar as you go over this bolster. You have to go just very gradually, and extend it. And rolling those shoulders back. And you can see that Leo's shoulders aren't on the floor yet. So as you can see, she's kind of doing this sort of opening and moving. So you're not going to just push the body so that the shoulder's on the floor. I'll just give you a demo of that. If you just keep going off like that, then you're just creating a flatness in your chest. So you have to see that you come into it very gradually, and you're just coiling off of the back of the bolster. So once you've got that action and there's the ribs moving away from the pelvis, then you're going to stretch your legs and take your feet onto the support and be in this position. This is a wonderful practice to start to observe your breath, your inhalation and your exhalation. So we're going to finish here in our video in the Supta Panagustasana. When you come out of this pose, this is really so that you can stay in this pose for a little bit longer. When you come out of this pose, do come into your Sukhasana, your cross-leg position. So your Sukhasana is crossed legs as I'm crossing my legs here. But do stay in this pose for a little bit longer and just observe that breath and the extension in the diaphragm and enjoy being in your pose. We hope you've enjoyed this video. This is the first lesson of 6 for the complete beginners. And if you like the video, press the like button, and if you'd like to subscribe, then that would be good too. Namaste.